Donald Trump's stooges are panicking because as Donald Trump continues to decline, as he becomes more and more deranged, he continues to make crazier and crazier statements out on the campaign trail, whether it's calls for violence, attacks on the enemy from within, or describing the anatomy of deceased golfers. Donald Trump is out of his mind, now more so than ever. And that means Donald Trump's stooges have to do an even more difficult job cleaning up his mess and defending the indefensible. And they are clearly not having a good time with it. And one of the best examples of that, or maybe we should say the worst example of that, can be seen in MAGA Republican and Trump stooge, really Trump's political pet, in Lindsey Graham, who appeared on Meet the Press this morning with Kristen Welker, and he was not enjoying himself, really got into this panic state defending Donald Trump, so much so that he started screaming at Kristen Welker as this debate got incredibly heated and as Lindsey Graham crumbled. And we are going to get into all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video and to hit that subscribe button. It really goes a long way in supporting this channel that we're growing. It really means the world to me. Now, like I said, Lindsey Graham melting down after getting caught in a lie, and we are going to get into that. But first, let's check out this clip. Lindsey Graham with some obvious spin right here.
I want to start by talking about former President Trump's rhetoric in these closing days of the campaign. He's been intensifying his attacks against his opponents. Take a listen to a little bit of what he's had to say.
It is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. We have China, we have Russia, we have all these countries. If you have a smart president, they can all be handled. The more difficult are, the Pelosi's, these people, they're so sick and they're so evil.
Senator, the enemy from within, is that a winning closing message for the former president?
Well, we do have enemies within. We've got an Afghan national who's going to attack us on Election Day. But as to the Democratic agenda, I think it will change America fundamentally. That they want to pack the court, they want to go to 13-9, they want to eliminate the Electoral College. They want to make D.C. and Puerto Rico states. So, yeah, I think their agenda is really radical. But when you talk about rhetoric, you got to remember, they tried to blow his head off. There's one candidate in this race who's been shot at and hit in the ear, and we're lucky they didn't blow his head off, and another guy tried to kill him the next week. So I'm not overly impressed about the rhetoric game here.
But just to be clear, first of all, you're talking about the Afghan national who was radicalized after he got here.
Within.
But he's talking about the Democrats.
You
say they.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about when you say they?
I'm talking about the Democratic agenda
because you know that those are still under investigation.
The Democratic agenda they're going to push for this country turns our country upside down. It fundamentally changes who we are as a nation, and we're going to stop it. We're going to stop it at the ballot box.
But Senator, is that type of rhetoric the way to win over undecided, disaffected Republicans?
We're winning and going to win, not because of what Donald Trump's saying, but because of what they've done for 4 years. You know why Donald Trump is going to win this election? 70% of the people think we're going in the wrong direction. And when Vice President Harris is asked, what would you do different? She says, nothing comes to mind. The American people are not going to tolerate 4 more years of affordability crisis, a world on fire, a broken border, energy dependence. Trump's going to win because they have failed the American people. They're trying to disqualify him. Have you heard lately, let me tell you why you should vote for me, because I'm going to make your life better? No, it's all about Trump. They got no other game to play.
So Lindsey asked about the enemy from within comment, and he's done what every single Republican is doing lately, which is to say, no, but that's not what Donald Trump meant. Even though Donald Trump himself has been asked about this statement time and time again and continues to say, yeah, that's exactly what I meant. So yes, Lindsey, he is talking about attacking Democrats. He is talking about attacking political opponents. And what is this that you're saying about Kamala Harris not talking about her agenda enough? Do you listen to her? Do you listen to her talking about building 3 million new units of housing, talking about battling price gouging, increasing the minimum wage? Clearly not. You are the one who seems to be caught up in Trump all the time and trying to defend his indefensible, which is exactly what Lindsey Graham did right here. And he got called out. And you're going to see him lose it pretty badly.
Let me tell you what retired 4-star General Mark Milley, someone who you have praised in the past, has had to say about Donald Trump. Of course, he's Donald Trump's former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He told Bob Woodward in a new book, quote, No one has ever been as dangerous to this country as Donald Trump. Now I realize he's a total fascist, a fascist to the core. Why shouldn't voters trust Donald Trump's top general on this, Senator?
He has a right to his opinion, but this is the man who oversaw 20 years of training of the Afghan-Iraqi army that folded like a cheap suit. I like General Milley, but I disagree with him. You know what I fear? I fear 4 more years of Biden-Harris policy. I fear holding Israel back so they can't win the war they have to win to survive. I fear 4 more years of holding Ukraine back, 4 more years of broken borders, 4 more years of not drilling for oil and gas, 4 more years of high food prices. The threat to the world is the policies of this administration. To General Milley, you have a right to your opinion, but I don't fear Donald Trump. I fear what's going on in the world today. If you want the world to stay on fire, vote for her. If you want to keep paying high prices for everything it costs to live, vote for her.
But Senator, but you've known General Milley for years. You've said you have
deep
deep admiration and total confidence.
I think he's wrong.
John Kelly, his former chief of staff, has said that former President Trump was telling him to go after his opponents repeatedly. Here he was. He was always telling me that we need to use the FBI and IRS to go after people. It was constant and obsessive.
Talking points. I think they're wrong.
He's the former chief of staff.
I think they're wrong. I think they're totally wrong. It was Joe Biden who got us out of Afghanistan that led to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It was Kamala Harris, the border czar, that opened up our border to 10 million illegal immigrants running wild, women getting raped and killed, terrorists residing in our backyard. It was their decision to stop energy production, making us more energy independent. It was their decision to abandon Israel at their time of need when it came to weapons.
Senator, the U.S. is making more energy than
I think these generals are wrong.
But they worked for Donald Trump.
You know what? I know.
They worked for former President Trump. These are former Trump administration
to every Republican
officials.
supporting her, what the hell are you doing? You're supporting the most radical nominee in the history of American politics. The Green New Deal, Medicare for all. She was the last person in the room before Biden decided to withdraw from Afghanistan. She was the border czar. She cast the tie-breaking vote for the Inflation Reduction Act that gives you high prices. What are you doing? You're trying to convince me that Donald Trump's rhetoric is the danger to this country. The danger to this country is the policies of Biden and Harris. Her fingerprints are all over this disaster, and I can't take 4 more years of this crap.
All right.
When you support her, you're supporting 4 more years of garbage policy.
They cannot defend him anymore, so they just have to resort to pivoting, changing the topic, or like Lindsey did there, just screaming over Kristen Welker. And I wish she had pushed back more on him. Of course, he was just trying to talk over and interrupt her, but gosh, you got to continue to call out those lies no matter what Lindsey is doing. But thankfully, we have a little bit of contrast today between Lindsey Graham trying to pretend that Kamala Harris isn't actually talking about anything other than Donald Trump. No, she's been talking about her agenda. She has been talking about the policy that she wants to implement. So for a bit of contrast, I think I want to play a clip of President Obama talking about Donald Trump's failed policy and the policy Kamala Harris will implement.
Now, I got some more points. If you challenge Donald Trump or his VP nominee, Vance, if you challenge them on, well, these concepts don't seem to make much sense and nobody really understands them and the economists tell you they're not going to work. If you challenge them, they'll fall back on one answer. It does not matter what it is, housing, healthcare, education, paying for the bills. One answer, blame the immigrants. Don't boo. What'd I tell you? He wants you to believe that if you elect him, he will just round up whoever he wants and ship them out, and all your problems will be solved. Now, let me tell you something, because I've been working on this for a long time. We have a real issue at the border. We are a nation of laws and a nation of immigrants. We have to make sure the system works the way it's supposed to so that we've got legal immigration, which built our nation, where we've got folks like the DACA folks that I worked on behalf of to make sure that they grew up here, that we give them pathways to citizenship. But we also have to have an orderly border. We have to have it fair. There's nothing, that's the truth. We have to fix some aspects of it that are broken. Sí se puede. But when I hear Donald Trump talk, I keep on, you know, he's very quick to say to Kamala, well, you were vice president 4 years. Dude, you were president for 4 years. As I recall, you were up there in the Oval Office.
Republicans continue to push this shtick that Kamala Harris has had 3.5 years in the White House as vice president, even though the vice president doesn't have much authority at all to clean up a mess, to do the things she's talked about. But why don't they talk about the time that Donald Trump had in the White House when he didn't accomplish anything he set out to except for a big tax cut for his rich friends? Of course, they don't want to talk about that because they don't want to talk about his record. But we are going to every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.